famous pop star singer Katy Perry and 5 other females are making headlines by becoming the first all-female space crew in over 60 years. And who does not like to go for tours? But what if you have the affordability to try something different, something very, very expensive, an adventure that is considered to be of richest among all people? And this is what has happened. Hello and welcome to the in-depth series section of Drishti IAS. I'm Aisha, and in today's episode we will be covering the topic of space tourism. So recently the famous pop star Katy Perry and 5 other females, they have gone for the space tourism. It means that going on an adventurous trip, a leisure trip or a pleasure trip, but the destination this time is not, you can say, beaches or mountains. It is space, a destination which is different, a destination which is expensive, and a destination which cannot be afforded by many people. And that is what is making this space tourism headlines, and that is why this trip of space tourism is very, very different. So the aspects that we will be covering in today's episode would be: what is space tourism, its advantages, disadvantages, what the space economy around the world, what are the initiatives that has been taken by the Indian government to promote the space sector in India, and in the end a prelims MCQ. Topic is of relevance from General Studies paper 3, that is Science and Technology, and also with regard to space technology. So few of the news that talks about, so that is Katy Perry launches into space with all female crew on Blue Origin rocket. So the rocket belongs to the company Blue Origin, and this company is of billionaire Jeff Bezos, and the fiance of Jeff Bezos was also on this tour. Then Katy Perry all female crew go to space. How much does it cost to go to space like Katy Perry? Now, going to space is expensive, very, very expensive, and the amount goes into, if we talk about Indian rupees, then it goes into crores, and then the amount goes into crores, and in US dollars if we talk about, then it goes into millions. Before moving forward, Drishti IAS Noida Center, the admissions are open for the IAS GS online foundation course covering both prelims and mains. The English medium batches and the Hindi medium batches admissions are open in both. In case of any query, give us a call at 87501. And a good news for all the students who are studying through the Drishti Learning app, the IAS GS online foundation course. So the aspects of artificial intelligence have been added at the Drishti Learning app, and there are 3 flagship initiatives under it, and that is AI quiz, AI summary, and ask me anything. Under the AI quiz, you can ask any MCQ with regards to the topic that you are studying. Ask me or ask the summary, you can ask about the summary of the lecture which you are attending, and under the ask me anything section, you can ask any question with regard to the topic. Now let us talk about the news. So pop star Katy Perry and 5 other women went to space, and they aboard a rocket operated by Jeff Bezos, billionaire Jeff Bezos private company, and that is the name of the company is Blue Origin. And this is not the first time that the space tourism has taken place. Before also the space tourism has taken place. Then it is the first time since 1963 that an all-woman crew has been to space. Now this space tourism or this trip to the space is becoming special and is making headlines. The reason being that it is an all-female crew which has went, and the last time all-female crew went to space was in the year 1963, and now this has happened, so almost 60 years, and the mission lasted for around 11 minutes. So the mission went to space, came back, and this time period was around 11 minutes. Then New Shepard rocket taking the woman more than 100 kilometers above the earth. So company is Blue Origin, and the name of the rocket is New Shepard. Name of the rocket is New Shepard, and this crossed the internationally recognized boundary of space, and the name is Karman line. Now important from the exam respect that you should be able to know about the Karman line. So it is basically an international line in space you can say that the distance of around 100 kilometers. Now, looking at this map, so we will go by the different layers in atmosphere, that is troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, thermosphere and exosphere, and going by the distance from the earth. So first and foremost is the troposphere. So around the distance is around 12 to 15 kilometers. Second comes the stratosphere, distance is around 50 kilometers. Then comes the mesosphere, distance is around 75 to 80 kilometers. And then comes the thermosphere, and the distance is around, what do we say? So mesosphere is around 80-85 kilometers. So the thermosphere is around 500 kilometers. So the Karman line is basically between mesosphere and thermosphere. The distance is around 100 kilometers. Remember the distance, that is 100 kilometers. So that is an internationally recognized boundary of space. So there is a famous thing which is said that something which is going below the Karman line, that is considered to be an aircraft, and someone which goes above the Karman line, that is crosses the boundary of 100 kilometers, becomes a spacecraft. Now about space tourism. So what is space tourism in easy language? See, you go for tourism, I go for tourism, and many other people go for tourism. People look to go to beaches, to mountains, but then there are few people on this planet who are rich, who have the affordability, then they can spend millions and millions on trying to experience something which is different, which is adventurous, and they can spend a lot on their leisure activity. So for them, there is a new kind of tourism, and which is not common among people, and that is the space tourism. It means going to the space to experience something different. So space tourism is a section of the aviation sector, and this provides with the opportunity to become astronauts and experience space travel for recreational activities, pleasure, or for their leisure time. Then there are basically two main types of space tourism. First is the suborbital spacecraft, and second is the orbital spacecraft. So first is the suborbital spacecraft. It takes passenger just beyond the Karman line. It means that they can spend few minutes in space and then come back to Earth. So that is beyond the Karman line, and not much time the people spend on the or in the space. Then comes the second, and that is the orbital spacecraft, and that is the passengers go much further than the Karman line. So suborbital within Karman line or around the Karman line, that is around the distance of 100 kilometers, and the recent trip by Katy Perry and 5 other women is the suborbital spacecraft, because they spent around 11 minutes and then they came back. Then comes the orbital spacecraft. It means going much further away from the Karman line, and this the orbital spacecraft going further away from the Karman line, this can take from days to months also, and the altitude can be of more than million feet. So this is the difference. And if we talk about the space tourism, then there are three major private players, and that is the Virgin Galactic, Blue Origin and SpaceX. SpaceX belongs to the billionaire Elon Musk. Then comes the Blue Origin. The company belongs to the billionaire Jeff Bezos, and the recent trip by Katy Perry and other 5 women have been through the Blue Origin company, and all 3 companies executed their first mission in the year 2021. Now let us talk about first of all few of the advantages, and then we will talk about the concerns. So if we will talk about the advantages of the space tourism, so first and foremost you can say that is something new for the people, something new that they can try and they can go for it. Then second, you can say that good for scientific study, that more and more people are able to go, so more and more scientists can also be taken to space in the future. And then next advantage of space tourism can be that the aspect of space technology. The aspect of space technology and how important it is, the awareness among the common people will also increase. Now coming on to the concerns with regard to space tourism, so that is lack of accessibility. It means that not every person, not normal people, or the people who, majority of the people, you can say that around 99% of the people on this planet cannot access this space tourism aspect, and this space tourism, because it is so expensive, it is only for a very small chunk of people, and those people has to be ultra rich. Then comes the second aspect, that not a driver of innovation. One of the advantages can be that innovation can be done, recreational activities can be done for rich people. Then scientifically this can be a good aspect, that more and more scientists can go and explore new things. But over a period of time, what has observed is, or what has been observed is, that the aspect of the innovation is not taking place with regard to more and more people going into the space, because they are going into the space just for the tourism purpose, and no innovation is taking place because of it. Then environmental impact. Now environmental impact is one of the biggest factors and one of the biggest concerns with regard to the space tourism, because the space debris problem, is a problem. Like, space debris is something which is man-made, and then when the satellites and the spacecraft goes into the space, and something which is man-made and is left onto the space, and that something keeps on revolving or keeps on orbiting around or in the space and creating a junk into the space, so that is called space debris. And with regard to space debris, there is a syndrome called the Kessler syndrome. So that Kessler syndrome is a situation, you can say a hypothetical situation, that more and more junk is going into the space. So some point of time, what will happen is that so much of junk will be present in the space that it will become difficult for the satellites to perform their work. So that syndrome is known as Kessler syndrome. Now few of the other points would be that the shoot emission from rocket launches are far more effective at warming the temperature as compared to the other sources. So shoot emissions means the black carbon which goes into the space. Then nitrogen oxides emitted during rocket launches can deplete the ozone layer by converting ozone into oxygen. Now depletion of ozone layer in itself is a very problematic thing, because it is the ozone layer which protects us from the harmful ultraviolet rays. So if more and more rocket will be launched, then more amount of nitrogen oxides will be emitted into the atmosphere, and as more and more nitrogen oxide will be emitted into the atmosphere, it means higher chances are there that this will threaten or this will harm the ozone layer. Then the recovery of the ozone layer will also be threatened. And then if we talk about the amount which goes on, if anyone wants to go on space tourism, then exact amount has not been given, but an approx amount that can be said would be that at least $1 million are required to reach the outer space. Like for example, the Blue Origin company, deposit is required firstly of around $1,50,000. Then if we talk about the Virgin Galactic spacecraft, it costs around $4,50,000. So the amount in Indian rupees goes into CR. Now coming on to the next aspect, and that is the space economy, because going by the trends, the space economy is a sector which is booming. The business of the space economy is going, and the numbers are increasing and doubling. So the industry was valued around $848.28 million in the year 2023. It has reached $1.3 billion in the year 2024. So the increase is fast. Then by 2030, it has been estimated that the space economy will touch around $6.7 billion, and the growth is taking place at a rate of 31.6 between the year 2024 and 2030. It means that more and more private companies are also entering into the aspect, and the investment has been very high in this sector. Then the space economy expected to increase 5-fold from 8 billion to 44 billion in the coming few years. And then the PM Modi has also increased the space budget almost 3 times from 5,615 crore in the year 2013-14 to around 13,000 crore in the year 2025-26, because the space sector or the space economy is also one of the important sectors and also one of the important economies with regard to the ambitious Viksit Bharat initiative by the year 2047. Now let us talk about few of the government initiatives that has been taken by the government to motivate and to promote the space technology and the space sector in India. So first and foremost is the Space Policy 2023. So it talks about that it allows private players into the sector and is expected to give academics, startups and the industry a boost in the space sector. As if the private players will enter into the space sector, if efficiency, productivity and also fast paced approach will also enter into this sector. Then comes the Indian National Space Promotion and Authorization Center. So it is an autonomous agency which works under the Department of Space, and it includes regulating, promoting, guiding, monitoring and supervising the space activities of non-governmental private entities in India. So basically it talks or it works in the respect of private sector in India. Then comes the Indian Space Association, established in the year 2020. It is an apex non-profit industry body set up for development of the private space industry in India. So the private space industry and the private players, the private players are motivated to enter into this industry and try to achieve great things. And now in the end, a prelims MCQ, and like always, you people need to tell me the answer in the comments below. So the question reads, the Karman line often referred or referenced in discussions about space travel is A, the boundary between the Earth atmosphere and the ozone layer, B, the altitude at which the gravitational pull of Earth becomes zero, C, that is the internationally recognized boundary of space located at 100 km above mean sea level, and D, that is the maximum altitude commercial aircraft can reach during regular operations. So give me the answer in the comments below, and that's all for today. Thank you so much for watching. Till we meet next time, keep reading, keep writing and keep subscribing to the channel. Thank you.
For more informative content, like, share and subscribe, and do not forget to press the bell icon to get the notifications.